go back to Warren for a stock market update from the Ayala trading floor. Warren?
Hi, Pinky. Trade is underway, and taking a look at the figures, the main index, it is in the green, up 0.4% at 44.41. The broader all shares index is up about 0.4% as well at 30.93. All the sub-indices are in the green, and we've got a value turnover of about $500 million so far. We've got 61 gainers against 20 losers and 29 issues unchanged. And early movers, well, they include Lepanto Consolidated and Banco de Oro, also Metrobank and BPI. Now it is time for our company call, the first one for 2012. We are joined by Mr. Roger Stone, Deputy Chairman at IPVG Corporation. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Okay, so IPVG is a tech company. You are involved in cloud computing and online gaming, and as well as internet security. Two of your units, the cloud and gaming operations, are already listed: IP-Converge Data and IP-Game Ventures.
Correct.
Of course, IPVG is also listed as IP with a. So let's talk about cloud first. Cloud computing is a global trend, storing information online, also providing services through the web. How do you feel about this, and how is the Philippines reacting to the trend?
Well, we, as a company, feel very positively about the whole elements of cloud computing. If you look at the way we're positioned as an organization into data centers, bandwidth or telecommunication services, and cloud computing, all of those have significant growth potential over the next 3 or 4 years. If you look around the region, bandwidth is growing at almost 100% per annum, and worldwide 32% compound annual growth rate. Data centers 25 to 30%. And I saw some recent analyses of the growth in cloud computing from about 20 billion this year to over 120 billion worldwide in 2015. So we're positioned in 3 elements of extreme growth, and we feel very excited that that will kind of propel us as an organization very positively in the future. Cloud computing generally, some of the concepts have been around for some time, but they've come together in this concept that now is called cloud computing. And we feel it's very significant for the Philippines, and possibly even more significant for the Philippines than it is for the United States. And let me explain why. Traditionally, IT companies have sold their products through hardware and software and services.
Right.
And it's been outside the ability of the average SME to afford that capability. And what it's also lent is that it takes a long time to actually go from problem definition to problem solution. With cloud computing and our relationships with Google and Microsoft and Salesforce, we can condense that time from 18 months down to 3 or 4 months. So that's important. But most important is the fact that cloud computing gives you an opportunity to price the product not under a capital base, but on a rental base. So that can be a monthly charge for the service, or even possibly down in the future to a transaction price. So 50 cents for a way bill, or $1 for a treasury transaction.
I see.
So this opens up accessibility of computing to a much broader base of the Philippine commercial community.
Yeah. You did mention SMEs. They are a huge part of the Philippine economy. So this is what you're targeting. This is your target customer base.
It is actually, it's both enterprises and SMEs. The point that I was making was that the impact on the SMEs is going to be more significant to the Philippines as a nation than the impact on the enterprise.
Right.
But both areas.
Both areas. Given cloud computing is through the web, you can offer these services abroad as well, but it appears you're targeting Philippines specifically.
Absolutely. We think that the growth will be very strongly here. Our telecommunications facilities within IP-Converge allow providing access internationally, but the growth of cloud computing, the facilities that the IT systems will bring, will have a significant effect here, and our focus is here.
Right. I understand there's also a synergy between your cloud computing business and your e-games business. Let's talk about that. There's a huge need for bandwidth for your e-games, also data storage. So is e-games actually directly, is cloud directly catering to e-games?
Yes, we have relationships between the 2 companies, and obviously e-games is a customer of IP-Converge.
Right.
I think the key, the synergies that will evolve will be linked to how we take e-games to market. E-games as a business is evolving. If you look at the business, it's essentially three elements. It's content, it's access, and it's execution. And we like to think that from an execution point of view, after 6 years doing it, we're pretty good at it. So our future, and 2012 particularly, you'll see us make significant releases in the content area, some very exciting new games. And the development of the investments that we're making, particularly into our internet cafe initiative, will provide the point of access.
Yes.
Where these two things come together is interesting, because that point of access, once you have it, you can do all sorts of things with it. So for instance, with the point of access, we'll be offering training courses in IT around the nation, because we'll be talking by the end of 2013, mid-2014, we'll have 1,000 sites across the nation. The second thing we'll be able to do is to help the SMEs actually implement their cloud initiatives through the internet cafe. So we bring those things together in a very significant composite, which we think our customers will like and enjoy.
Okay, so this is the main purpose of your purchase of the Utopia chain.
Exactly.
Wow, that sounds pretty promising. You did undergo some restructuring last year, where you transferred the cloud and EG from IPVG to IP Ventures, and then now IPVG is essentially a shell company. But what are your plans for IPVG right now? On top of that, you also incurred some losses through the restructuring. Where is the income going to come for IPVG to turn that around? Okay.
Obviously, with the shell, we're looking at some options as to what we do with that as an asset. But when we look at the losses, if you peel out the restructuring charges, the operating business is very sound. So if by the middle of the year, last year, 2011, we were at just under 300 million of net profit. That's double the entire year of 2010, which was a growth and a turnaround from 2009. So with due modesty, we like to think that as a management group, what we said we were going to do in terms of turning the business around over the 2 years from 2009 to 2011, we actually have done. And our investments now and the money that we're raising will all be driving the e-games and cloud initiatives that we've talked about.
You mentioned fundraising. You did get a debt guarantee from Felix for 200 million pesos. You also got 225 million from a share sale to investors at Gem Global. So where is the money going to go?
The guarantee was IPVG guaranteeing our organization Digital Paradise, which runs Utopia. And so that money is going into the expansion of our internet cafe business.
Okay. You also have Japan SoftBank coming in as Bodhi. What is Bodhi's role in your restructuring for IPVG?
Well, I mean, obviously we're very honored to have somebody as notable as SoftBank coming into the organization. They're a very, very savvy investor in the IT space and have invested heavily into telecoms and electronic games, which is exactly the business we're in. So we see a lot of synergies in them helping us build relationships with companies outside the country that will help accelerate both of those parts of our business. And the great thing, just as a final comment about Bodhi, is they're absolutely aligned with us in terms of their focus on returning shareholder value. So very much aligned as businesses.
But what brought them in? Were they really interested in your e-gaming or your cloud computing business?
You know, I actually think they like us. They've looked at us for almost 5 years. We've been talking with them, and they decided finally to come in, because I think we've shown the track record kind of makes sense, and they believe that we will actually get the returns that they're looking for.
Okay, all right, some pretty exciting stuff. Good luck for you in 2012.
Thank you very much, Warren.
All right, thank you. That was Mr. Roger Stone, Deputy Chairman of the IPVG Corporation.